Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Aligned, Engaged, Fulfilled podcast. If you don't know yet, I'm your host, Clarence Maur, and today we're exploring the new frontier of brand building with Tom Circo, the co-founder of Matchbook. We've been talking about this from the brand's, from the business's perspective, and I want to flip the coin. A core part of my work is focused on individual career alignment and fulfillment as much as it is about brand alignment. As you've mentioned, we're seeing millions of people, especially from younger generations, leaving the traditional 9 to 5 job to join the creator economy. They're not just building content, but they're building personal brands and really enterprises for people such as Dave Dobrik and Mr. Beast. But from your vantage point, from your unique vantage point, what separates those creators who successfully turn their passion into a sustainable career from those who struggle or even burn out? What does it truly take to build a personal brand that's not just engaging to an audience, but really personally fulfilling and financially viable?
The answer I'm going to give you is a bit of a hard answer for creators to hear because they are innately a creative. Granted, I've actually met a fair few of influencers that had a cozy corporate job and then just said, I like making reels of me, painting miniatures, and I have 250,000 followers and I get brand deals. I mean, I've seen it. But here's the harsh answer. You're not just a creative. You're a business and you are a commodity. Yeah. And if you are independent, you need to approach that like a business. You need to learn what Apollo is and what these sales tools are. You need to make a LinkedIn profile. You need to not just send 10 emails a day, but you should send 50 emails a day. And it shouldn't just be to, info at Nike, right? Find the people like myself that are working with brands, the one-to-many approach. Find the Clarences of the world, transcended through a CMO position, this large marketing position, into understand that they have CEO qualities. Find the brand marketers at the company. Find the directors of growth, the VPs of, heads of social, all this, especially as an independent, creator. If you want to win work, showing a level of professionalism and understanding, because you have to understand who the F it is that you're talking to. When you send a DM to the brand, you're going to get, Julie in the social media manager. And God bless her because she's got great intentions, but she's not going to run you up the ladder. She might put you on a list that maybe gets reviewed by somebody like me who's paid out over $1 million in the past 2 years to creators. Sure. But they're not going to, there's a difference. Now, if your outbound strategy is to all these core people and you show up professionally and say, hey, Clarence, my name's Tom. I'm an influencer. I have da-da-da stats. Just want to get on your radar. I love what you're doing over at Maur Company. It's awesome. This is what I do. I think there's a synergy. You let me know. I'm really interested in working with you guys. Have a great day. XO. Bye. Right? Cool. But don't just send them an email, a DM. Get familiar with the sales tools. Get on the phone. Call somebody. That's how you will stand out as far as bringing work in. Now, to pivot to the fun stuff and the soft stuff, authenticity is the thing. Everybody has their own niche. I'm personal friends with multiple influencers. One of my best friends runs a faceless YouTube channel called Motivation Madness. Got almost 4 million followers. You know what stands out about him? He also founded an app, a mindset app, all this motivational content. Now, mind you, this guy has a digital development company that does stuff for Peterson and Tony Robbins and Alan Watts and Mike Tyson, even all this, crazy stuff. He's managed to build this YouTube audience without ever putting his face on there using motivational content, but he transitioned it over to this application because he built a business off of it as well. It's about thinking from the POV of like, yes, the content is important. I know I was going to get into the soft stuff, but I recall this as well. Is that you really are a business, and it's about diversification, just like how a business would have multiple sources of revenue. But the most important thing is that starting a community, a really truly engaged fan base early on is never a bad thing. If you have 10 followers and you start a VIP community and one person joins, imagine that, man. Imagine there's
Yeah.
actual human beings sitting there right there being like, dude, I'm a fan of you. Like, I'm a fan of you, Clarence. Like, you're awesome. I like your hair. What do you got? I'll buy it. I'll be there. I'll come support. Now imagine 100 people. People often forget that. See, we live in a
Yeah.
digital world where 100 people is just 100 on a tiny screen in your hand. 100 people couldn't fit into my apartment, okay? I mean, maybe they could, but we'd be cramped. And I just think that there's a beauty to, like, for the content creators out there, if anybody's listening and they're really, taking that step forward or standing out, no matter what scale that you're at, be weary of your talent managers, even if they're awesome, because I would say that a good 75% of deals that I've done with content creators that didn't go through happened because of the talent manager. 75%, maybe 80. I would say your content, you should pump it. Don't worry about, you know, doing the one video per week and this and that. I think volume matters. And I think just being authentic in it and be yourself, being yourself and figuring out what your niche is and sticking to that while also looking for partnership opportunities to really build with people around you. It's going to do you such a service. Being open to working and pitch brands that don't even really fit into your ecosystem. Go through
Yeah.
your house and go be like, oh, I use this, this brand of water bottle, but I also use this type of toilet paper. Maybe there's a thing to be done here. And don't rely on ChatGPT. I have been seeing a lot of creators lately get all of their ideas from it. And while I think that that's awesome, I think there's opportunities there. I think also you're losing that spark that you once had or you still probably do have, but you're numbing it. You're
Mm.
pouring water on the flame a little bit because that little stroke of genius that we all have, that alignment, that's the thing that you have to harness. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be lightning in a bottle every time.
Right.
But if you're authentic and you're genuine, you're true to yourself within your content, that's how you will stand out. All
Yeah.
of the greats have done that. They've tripled, quadrupled down on the thing that worked and beat the dead horse. Why not? So that would be my 2 cents for creators wanting to stand out and to go big.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a critical insight. And it really does lead to, what I believe is the most critical and really often overlooked step in this entire journey. Because before you can really build an authentic brand, before you could really, be your genuine self, you have to first be deeply aligned with yourself. Right. And
Yeah.
you've used the word quite a few times in this conversation. But as you just said, if a creator really starts making content based on what they think is popular or what a brand might want rather than what's true to them, yes, there are situations where they can find success in that. But in the long term, they're essentially building a career on a foundation of misalignment. And it really becomes a direct path to the very burnout that I think a lot of them are trying to escape in their 9 to 5. So, to your point, it's important to make sure you are aligned with yourself and who you are and what you stand for in pursuit of that genuine authenticity that you want to portray to the world.
Mhm. I'll say also there is an interview done by Speedy and an influencer by the name of Duke Dennis. And Speedy asked Duke, he goes, well, if you wanted to blow up today, I would just look at what's popping trend wise and I would just do my own version of all of it. Like every day I would just look at what's relevant, what's happening, and I would just do
Yeah.
my version. And this, I was going to touch on this point earlier because you mentioned something about this, but it is really relevant. It's for companies to really take into consideration. The hard lesson that you learned was perfectionism in the workplace when it comes to marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfectionism is the thief of productivity and of
Yep.
progression. Dwindling your thumbs and figuring out making the thing perfect will fucking never get it forward. Sorry for swearing. We got to believe it.
No,
But
you're
like
good.
it just will affect it.
Yeah.
And so the big lesson to learn here is this. Look at what happened with the Taylor Swift engagement. The brands that hopped on that right away, big engagement, big thing. And yes, sales matter. The reality is that when you have a real brand and community, then you can so easily sell your thing. And the conversion rates will be exponentially more if it's truly within that community. So sales matter. Clarence and I are not saying that sales don't matter as much as brand, but they are a lot more aligned. The Venn diagram is a lot tighter than I think a lot of companies realize, especially nowadays. Back to even what we were saying about creators, you have to find a way to be quick to react to things and not worry about the perfectionism, but hop on them. But do it from your voice. If you looked at the Taylor Swift reactions and stuff like that, what a creatively beautiful moment. These brands found their own comical take, their own serious take, their own lovey-dovey take. The ones that really had, you could see what a bunch of geniuses these marketers are, sat around in a room and came up with something on the fly. And content creators did the same thing. The fact that they were able to react so quickly, they didn't dwell on it. They didn't make sure it was, yeah, you don't want to screw up brand guidelines. Hey man, I get it. Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Corporate Board, I understand. That being said, if you want to stand out, you want to build brand, this whole conversation we're having right now, we understand sales are important. This all has to do with sales. Truly, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all leads back to that. But you said something really interesting, is that you have to become in touch and in tune with your aligned and authentic self. If you were just to react and do the same trend the same way it was done, nobody would care.
Right.
If you do it from your authentic voice, and you now know by understanding what and who you are as a brand, a company, an individual, whatever it is, then your reaction to it, your version of it is going to be so cool. And your audience is going to love that.
Right.
And they're going to
Yeah.
really engage with it. I don't think that there's any brands in the world that would not want to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers and an
Yeah.
engaged audience at that.
Right.
I don't think there's any brand in the world that wouldn't want to have people with a large audience that that has alignment and that a crossover with their product or service, posting and talking about them. And the reason why I found this home in influencer marketing and love it so much and plan on staying here is because I built a business off of understanding human behavior, that people are the best selling points ever because it's human connection.
Yeah.
And it's not just all about sales, but if we're being granular about the business aspect of this, your message will never get conveyed better than a human being advocating for it.
100%.
Because word of mouth freaking matters the most in 2025. This is why when people say even early stage, I don't think influencer marketing is applicable to early stage companies and this and that. I say, sure, maybe. You could be right. You could also be very wrong. What is the number one thing that you need to get across the board? Credibility and trust. You need to build that brand. And yes, there are tried and true ways of getting your name out there, and you can, again, pay to play and shove it down people's throats. But when all these people go to bat for your thing because they actually believe in it, you see it show up in the content. You see it show up in the content. And these early stage brands, they need that credibility. That is the benefit of working with content creators and influencers that have an audience and a following, because they have done something that all of these companies have not. They've built this huge audience online that engages with them every single day and that believes in them. Now, if they shove this down your throat by selling the iPhone and making you buy it, they're going to lose that.
You specialize in building long-term influencer programs, not just one-off campaigns.
Correct.
Why is that a more powerful strategy for a brand, and how does that change the nature of the relationship that you build with creators?
I was hoping you would ask me that. So, my God, is there a multitude of good answers here? I mean, look, I'll use this metaphor because I've used it a lot in pitches with companies. Coming from the film world, I was around a lot of casting rooms, casting directors, etc. Brand channels, especially, and creator channels, and how they interact, collab posts, etc. You're building a cast, and if it's a one-off commercial, your cast just shows up in a commercial and that's it. And people don't really
Mm,
remember them, align with your brand, right? I think so and so did that commercial for Ford that one time, and that was a good, Matthew McConaughey with Lincoln or whatever it was, or I don't know, right?
Killing it, yeah.
But it's not as remembered as when it's consistent. I think consistency is just a beautiful thing, and so you're building this cast of people. Now we can get into the technicalities of it, which is that content creators notoriously don't have consistent income. So when you offer them an opportunity to make consistent income, the rate that you usually can get from them is lesser. So that's a benefit to companies for sure on a technicality stance. But let's talk about the deeper stuff here. You're building this cast, you're constructing this cast where you have your main characters and they're showing up consistently in the content, right? They may be larger influencers, 500,000 plus, but they're making really good content. Or maybe you're getting 2, 3 posts of them per month, put it on your channels. Maybe one of those posts is on their channels. Depends. I love to not only build long-term partnerships, but I love to build multi-layer campaigns, right?
Mm,
It's going on their channel, it's going on your channel, maybe repurpose the paid, use it on the website, custom landing place for this one thing, all works together. Beautiful flow. But again, you're building this cast. So you have your main, your leaders, your A-listers, right? And then you have the assistant cast. Maybe not posted as often, but they're there. And then you have your background actors, which is, could be UGC, could be affiliate, could be this and that, just once in a while people. What happens, and this is, I'm going to use a story from one of our brands. We had this creator named Josh, great guy. I cannot believe what he's done for us. It's beautiful. And we signed him up, and 3 months into the program, he recorded a video for us. He was base jumping
uh-huh.
for us. Okay. FYI, when I say I can't believe what he's done for us, I mean like he jumped out of planes and base jumped and went down a mountain on skis on
Wow.
sand and rocks. Insane guy. But awesome creator. An awesome creative came from it. Now we had scripted that video. We knew what we were going to get roughly, like pretty close to what it was. But when he jumped off that mountain, he yelled out the company's slogan. That was not in the script. He naturally just did it in this moment of like sheer, I guess, anxiety and adrenaline pumping and all this stuff. It came out naturally because not only had the audience and everybody and gotten used to him and he's showing up on the channel and people are more familiar with him because that's it's a TV show, right? You're
Right.
scripting, it's cast a TV show for the brand. Tune into the Jack Link show, tune into the Perplexity show, tune into the ManyChat show, Liquid Death show, the Instacart show, whoever it is, right? The Ford show, right? He himself had now become part of the ecosystem, and his content in that moment naturally and organically reflected that to where it was the most fitting moment for him to yell it out.
Wow.
And he did. And I asked him after, did you know you were going to do that? And he goes, no, it just made sense. It just made sense. Now that's brand.
Yeah.
That's brand. So the benefits here are consistency with the creators will benefit from your audience because people start to become a fan of them associated with your company, and the cross pollination of their audience. If it's a one off, probably going to be pretty low. But when they understand that they're now being posted continuously and continuously on the channel, they have something to become a fan of within that realm as well. But then you have these moments that come organically that are just these like top tier, like what we live for moments. And you're not going to get that really from a one off. Granted, there's time and place for one offs. I've done plenty of one off campaigns. We did Perplexity's Super Bowl. We helped with their whole social stuff with that, right? The $1 million giveaway. That was a one off campaign. But we still built it with creators and the way that we formatted it, them posting the times. It was still multi layered and we knew what we were doing with that.
Mm.
But I love building both. And there's a
Yeah.
tremendous benefit, especially with owned media, to doing long-term partnerships. That's
Mm.
just some of the stuff that you get as a benefit from doing that for sure.
Yeah.
Because you're
Let's talk a little bit.
infusing them with your brand.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the role that Matchbook plays in that because key points again that you've made there, but what really like I think it highlights something that really intrigues me about your business. Matchbook isn't your traditional influencer agency that just supplies talent from a roster. It's more of an end-to-end concierge partner. You're not just finding a person, but you're serving as that strategic bridge between the creator's brand and the organization's brand,
That's
and
right.
really ensuring that the connection is seamless and authentic from start to finish. So it's a much
Right.
deeper and more integrated approach than what most people think of when they hear influencer marketing. So tell me a little bit more about that role that Matchbook plays in that relationship.
Yeah. So early on, we identified that a pain point with, agency is not always the most favored word.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure that we weren't viewed as this like big retainer, not nimble, gotta pay us always on agency. I wanted people to feel and understand that look, we're entrepreneurs, we're business owners, and I built this company on the basis of really being there to service a client that I understood their needs on. because I had hired influencers before in past ventures and I'd worked with agencies before and I didn't even like it. And I knew the pain points because I'd experienced, I paid them out. I was like, oh, I had to pay you 5 grand a month here, 10 grand a month here, but you didn't even do anything this month, but that was our agreement. And, I didn't like it. And so we shaped ourselves to be in your Slack chats, to be in your email threads, to be on call. You want to call me up and this and that, and we can chat about it. Really accessible, a team member, even, um, growing without having to hire the headcount from top performers, and the team that I've built underneath me and really alongside me, frankly, in a better sense, are chronically online experts. Everyone is good at what they do. The role that we play, it's your point of end-to-end concierge influencer services. Really, we're a brand marketing company that specializes in influencer marketing. Um, there's not a lot that we aren't able to execute on at a high level. We just love the world of influencer marketing and brand marketing in general. The way that we built this was to have people really understand that we'll take a seat at your table. And if you need something, we got it. It really, the way that we built this was to be able to service anyone, regardless of size, but still
Mm.
do a bang up job, no matter where they're at.
Love it. Beautiful. I do like to kind of look ahead and be forward looking about what is going to happen down the road in this industry, and really give our listeners something to take away that is actionable for them, and maybe even challenge their thought processes on this whole thing. So give me your take on what role does brand play in the age of AI from your perspective?
I mean, look, Clarence, I have hot takes here. I think this comes right back to the first thing we talked about, which is the brand being the moat. AI, vibe coding has absolutely demolished the barrier to entry being product, especially in software.
Yeah.
And you're looking at companies like Cursor, Lovable, Bolt. I mean, you don't have to be big to be big anymore,
Hmm.
right? You don't need a lot of headcount to have huge dollars per headcount. Some of these companies, Clarence, they got 10 million per headcount. This is like OG
Yeah.
Airbnb days. This is like, what are we doing here? This is crazy.
Hmm.
And so, the hot take and my perspective is pretty direct. AI, no matter what the industry, well, not no matter what the industry, but for most industries, is going to have a significant impact on barrier to entry, on speed, on what people can build, on competitive advantage, on competitors in general. And companies are really going to have to double down on being known to the masses or to their masses for being the company that does the thing that they do. Because tomorrow I can go vibe code Duolingo. I can go vibe code Facebook. I can go whatever it is. I can do it. Me, a layman on what I know. I'm an idiot when it comes to technology. I'm not good at this stuff at all. But I made an app the other day on Canva's AI, of all
Mm,
things, that I use. It was a calculator for pricing.
mm.
And we did one prompt, and it made it. I couldn't believe it. And so to be a little bit more distilled for the answer here, I think the thing that people aren't talking about enough is the AI slop on social. Personally, I'm not worried about AI influencers. I think it's going to happen. I think
Yeah.
novelty is going to be there. And I think the novelty is probably going to wear off, or they will have their own version. I worry about a little bit more in a psychological impact perspective for the really young generation that's not able to differentiate between an AI creator and a human being. And I wonder what that impact is going to have on like younger children that are consuming social. But on a more businessy answer, I'm not too worried about it. I think again they're going to have their moment, and I do think the novelty probably will, you know, fall off a little bit. That being said, it is incredibly easy to post so much content. So brands, not only you're right, it's the attention economy it's not as prominent as before because attention is just diluted,
Mhm.
right? That amount of seconds that you have to grab people is just gotten smaller, 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 smaller. And it's increasingly more difficult to retain them and to
Yeah.
retain the attention, which is sad. It says a lot about our society, but that's where
Mhm.
we're at. So you have to be cognizant and aware that This is where we're at with AI. Platforms like WAP and Floodify and these reposting platforms that can just pump out thousands of videos a day are doing exactly that. These AI video with the voiceover and the thing, and the man went to the well, and then the man did the well, and it's like a movie overview, right?
Yeah.
That's going to increase.
Mhm.
What we think that because we gave everybody option A, you can post a million times a day. You think people aren't going to do it? Of course they are, right? And so I worry that there will be an effect on our mental understanding of it. I worry about the brands that don't triple, quadruple down on brand building because there's going to be just so much noise that if they don't stand out, it's not even that they'll lose to a competitor. They're just going to get consumed in this masses of content distribution because it is so easy to push out 1,000 videos a day, no matter who you are. That would be my hot take on that.
Hmm. Well, I think so. I think you, in saying that, I think you answer what I wanted to ask next. But for the sake of kind of iterating this, for business leaders, for those business leaders that are listening right now who want to start investing in the people component of their brand through creators to really build that moat, what is the single biggest mistake they should avoid?
Size doesn't matter. I'm being cheeky by
Elaborate.
saying that, right? But I think authenticity in a niche matters. The biggest creators aren't the ones who have the most engagement.
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, there are some partnerships that work perfectly where you do want to have, and by the way that I like to structure partnerships is, especially multi-layered campaigns, is, you should have maybe 2 or 3 large figureheads, right? A point of reference for credibility, right? Again, you have Mr. Beast as a partner. Now, every other creator in that campaign has a level of credibility that they wouldn't have had before because they're doing a campaign with Mr. Beast and the brand,
Mm.
right? And so you have the big figureheads that bring credibility, and then you have smaller and then smaller and getting down all the way down to nano in locales. There's
Mhm.
one of my favorite things to do is build out hyper localized creator campaigns for even like a mom and pop shop because you're actually driving people into a store. It's really fun. I've done this. Um, but yeah, to your point, to answer that question, but size doesn't matter. It's helpful depending on the way the campaign is structured,
Right.
but you don't have to go out there and hire the person with 10 million followers just because that seems like the thing to do. There are plenty of content creators with 150,000, 200,000, 500,000 followers, even less sometimes, 50,000, but they're speaking right to your people. You have to have an eye for it. You have to understand how to communicate with them. We're dealing with creatives at the end of the day. It takes a very certain type of person to be able to get on the camera and talk like this naturally
Yeah.
and create content around it. It's engaging and funny and educational. But that is, how I would go about it. And one key lesson would be there's vanity metrics and then there's real metrics. Don't worry about getting the biggest name. If it's a PR play, go for it. Newly funded venture-backed company, want to get Kim K as your co-founder on the thing? By all means. But don't expect her to convert everything for you. And also, don't get caught up in thinking that it's the influencer's job to drive conversions.
Right.
It's their job to push attention to your landing place. But if your water is a ocean of sand and not a
Right.
lake, the horse is not going to drink.
Mm. I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways for business leaders to understand. But let's flip the coin. For the aspiring creator who wants to build a career as an influencer, based on everything that you've seen, the successes and the failures, what's the single most important piece of advice that you would give them before they even post their next video? What's the foundational work that they need to do to build a brand that's not just successful, but sustainable?
I would say it is the same answer I gave before.
Hmm.
Understanding fundamentally that they are a business and approaching their creative as this is the creative that I do, but this is my business of how I get work. Clarence, I've talked to creators, just stand-up people, just all of the earth humans that have 500,000 followers. True story. I was on the phone with one yesterday. You have
Hmm.
450,000 followers on TikTok and IG combined. And I said to him, I said, if you're not making about 15, 20K a month right now consistently, something's going wrong. And he told me I'm not. And I said, well, what are you doing about that? And he said, well, my talent manager, da, da, this and that. And he started to tell me about what his talent manager does.
Mhm.
And within 2 minutes, a minute of hearing this, I went, free game, do this, change this, do that, you'll be okay. And the reason why is because I understood. They were going out to 5 brands a day. Go out to 50.
Mhm.
Go out to 50. Who cares? There's enough companies out there. Find lookalikes of what you want, right? They weren't using traditional sales and business methods. This is a huge point, right? I should launch a course about this, frankly.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you can look and study what SDRs and BDRs in sales positions and in corporate America do to outbound to clients.
Mhm.
Copy and paste that into your creative world of being an influencer, your brand deal consistency is going to go way up.
Mm.
But I would also say, don't be afraid to make content with a brand, even if they haven't paid you. Something that I learned in the film industry is there's something called a spec commercial. You'll go out, you'll shoot a commercial for Samsung. Samsung had nothing to do with it. They might have just released a new phone, but you shoot a commercial for it and it looks nice. A lot of the time, we would put up money ourselves, $10,000, $15,000, get a great director, get a great DP, get them out there on the car, shoot a cool commercial. And then we would take that commercial, we'd send it to Samsung and be like, hey, psst, do you like our thing? You want to use it? And then you flip it. The same thing can be done with creator content, except for don't expect them to just come and give you the bag or send it to them. Maybe you can make a video of
Right.
that, right? But if you really want to stand out, you have 2 things you can do. One is go sit down and shoot 30 videos with all your favorite brands and send it to all of them. Make sure somebody sees it and be like, I can do this for you. And here's a visual representation instead of an email saying, I want to work with you.
Right.
The second thing is if they don't get back to you, screw them and post it, or take their competitor, make the same video and post that one and go, Tide Bounty didn't want to do the thing for me, so I used X instead, and this is my cool video. Like, whatever. Don't be afraid to push the envelope a bit. And the making of content is your greatest asset. If you don't think you're going to come out with a bunch of awesome ideas after, then you're not being true enough and authentic enough to yourself. Because if you've chosen the career path of being a content creator in 2025, the world is your oyster. You can make another video and you can get paid from another brand, but put out cool content and it'll work. And do your reps in the gym. If any creator that comes to me and says, oh, it's not working out for me, I say, have you posted 100 videos? And if they say no, I go, call me after. I have nothing to say to you. No brand deal conversation, no nothing. You have posted 100 times and it's not working out for you. Some creators post 3 videos and are millionaires. That's how the cookie crumbles, man. I've been building businesses since I was 16, really, but selling things, like you said, when I was 8 years old. And I just now, at 28 years old, for the past 4 years, have been having significant success from what I've done. Think about that. 10 years, 16 to 26, 16 to 24, 10 years of grinding, getting underpaid, working in nightclubs to make ends meet, to pay my rent, to whatever. And then I figured something out that I was like, oh shit. So get your reps in the gym. Doesn't matter who you are, what industry you're in.
That is incredible advice that anybody listening to this should listen to. And like I said earlier in the conversation, think about this, think about the advice, think about the insights that Tom just gave right now, not just in the context of, again, your career as a content creator or whatnot, but really think about how you can apply this to really any context, right? I mean, my brain went to a lot of things as you was saying that of like, I've always had this philosophy that the resume is dead. And today, now that video is king, we should approach job hunting in a different way where we create content that talks about us, go on Apollo, find the contact information for the leaders and the businesses you want to work in, send them your content, your video resume, so to speak, and change your approach to how you are pursuing, whatever career you want to aspire to. Like, you have to think that differently
Yes.
to really overcome this struggle, challenge, whatever that we're facing right now. You look like you were going to say something.
Yeah. Well, to that point, and Clarence is right on the money with this. There was a creator, or I almost call it a creator. I guess maybe she is. There was a young lady that I saw that posted on LinkedIn. She made a video. Well, like clearly, I think maybe her. I don't want to misspeak her. Maybe her partner or like a friend was a videographer, director, whatever it is, and shot this really well done, 2-minute long clip, whatever. And it was a video resume, but it was like a movie. It was like a little commercial. She was different
Mhm.
locations. She was over here. It was well shot. Like it had been shot, it had been edited, it had been colored. Like somebody that was around her is a professional at like a high level in the film world when it comes to this for 100%. And it blew up. I
Yeah.
mean, it blew up hundreds of thousands of likes and all this stuff. And she got job offers like you wouldn't believe. That's the thing. The resume is dead. If you want to grow in your professional career, look at me, guys. I think everybody should start their own company. That's a whole other tangent. We can get into like the Tomcast at some point. I'll voice my opinions on where we should all be at. But if you want to be your authentic true self, content creation, content creators, branding, this fucking matters right now in 2025. If you don't do it, you will get left behind. Mark my words. I haven't been wrong yet. I called B2B influencers 2 years ago. I knew it was going to happen. I was stupid and didn't capitalize on enough at the time, but we were early to the party and now it's happening and it's being done wrong. And if you want it done right, come to Matchbook because I'll show you how to
Yeah.
actually drive bottom of the funnel pipeline with B2B creators as well.
And we didn't even dive into the change in B2B world. I mean, you
Oh my
touched on it
God.
a little bit and you alluded to it, but we can have a whole conversation on that. And I think I mentioned this when I was on a call with you previously,
Yeah.
but there's a significant change happening there to your point.
I think they're doing it wrong.
Absolutely.
I think the
Yeah.
way that it's being done right now, they're doing it like um 2016 influencer style, and I
Mhm.
don't think it's applicable to B2B as much as they think that it is. I think it's a lot of vanity metrics, and
Mhm.
yeah, I just don't think that I don't think they're doing it right. I think there's way better applications of how to utilize content creators in the B2B space in that world of B2B. I
Yeah.
really believe so.
Yeah. Well, I think if I'm picking up on what I think you're putting down, this kind of relates to, I mean, if for any listeners who have followed us since the first episode, but episode 2 was about business to anyone. Tanya and Tony Thorson coined this concept of even in the B2B lane, you're still talking to people. And
Yeah,
that's where you have to operate from, that you're marketing to people who have different dimensions that are on all throughout the day. Like they one of the things that they talk about is kind of the severance concept, but you don't transform at 8:59 and 5:01 to be this whole different B2B person. You are the same person throughout the day.
yeah.
So I think that you're alluding to the same concept where you're not marketing to the business. You're not marketing in a way that is product led anymore. Like you are marketing to a person who is all different kinds of thoughts, ideas, problems all throughout the day. And that's how you have to approach B2B
Yeah, it's
marketing.
it's not Matchbook marketing to Maur company, it's Tom
Right.
marketing to Clarence.
Right. Right.
So what is Clarence doing at 4:59 PM on a Thursday
Right.
at home? How do you get in touch with Clarence to then have your B2B company be relevant for that? Creativity is always gonna win, man.
Yep.
Thinking outside the box has been proven for e forever. The time is changing, the tides are shifting, and, I do think that there's a beautiful era that's gonna come from this, but it's all rooted in brand, and
Mm,
it's all rooted in being authentic, and it's B to A, for
yeah.
sure. For sure it is. And how do you capitalize on that?
Yeah. Well, Tom, since you're so good at predictions and you haven't been wrong yet, my final question to you is looking ahead, where do you see the creator economy and the future of brand partnerships evolving in the next 3 to 5 years? What becomes the most important skill for building a brand in that future?
I think we're gonna see a lot more personal brand coming from B2B, executives. Think they're gonna people are gonna start to get wise to it. I don't know if it's gonna be the CEOs and stuff like that, but I think, there's gonna be boardroom meetings held where people sit down and be like, "Oh, John's personable. Let's make him our face," or something like that. I don't know.
Mm,
I think something along those lines. I'm seeing it already, and I think it's just gonna happen at scale. Um, I think that AI influencers are gonna be a thing.
mm,
I think that they're not gonna be here to last, but I think that we're really gonna try because I believe that the way that these um, Claude and all these, these AI companies, et cetera, mid journeys of the world, the Crocs, um, are developing at such a rate, such a speed that you'll be able to create avatars really easily,
Mm,
and that'll just right now, if you want to create a really good AI influencer, you still kind of need a team. Some kid in Sri Lanka is gonna be able to do it on his crappy laptop that he found on the side of the road for $20. I mean, it's gonna happen. What else do I think? I think B2B influencer is gonna become a real thing. I think it's slow right now. I think people are gonna start to get wise to it and utilize it better. I think the creator economy is gonna get bigger and bigger. I think it's gonna affect society because you want a real answer here?
of
I'll
course.
give you a hard take. Okay. Kids aren't going to university as much as they used to, especially in North America. Now, I'm no geopolitical analyst. I'm just a kid from East Vancouver that trying to make something of himself. But I'm aware of the state of the world, of what's happening here. And what I see is that traditional education has taken a pretty big L.
Yeah.
Kids aren't even given letter grades anymore because of sensitivities to anxiety and stuff. Listen, buddy, my generation, I come from a Sicilian immigrant household. Anxiety wasn't even a word that we could pronounce. I'm not trying to be insensitive to it. That's
Yeah.
just the state of the thing.
That's the
Letter
reality. Yeah.
grades aren't even being given because of this. And the grades dropping, the reliance on ChatGPT. I have friends that are teachers that are telling me this stuff. Boots on the ground. This is where this opinion comes from. I'm listening to people who are actually living it. Post secondary isn't as sought after because people know that it's not required anymore to make something for
Mm,
yourself. And I'm a
right.
big proponent of that. I'm a huge believer in that. F college, I say, right? Whatever. But not if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or
Sure.
like you need to go and as a scientist, there should be a level of formal education. I support universities and I support post secondary in general for that because that is necessary. I'm not letting some guy operate on my leg that hasn't gone to school for, plastic surgery for 15 years.
Right.
You kidding me? Do you need it to become a business person? But it's not happening, especially in North America, as much as it used to, because people want to be an influencer.
Yeah.
And the reality is that everyone can, but I don't know if they can successfully.
Right.
Not easy.
It's not easy.
And there's a lot of people that are trying to do it. And they think it's going to be, when I say people, I mean a lot of young people, really young.
Yes. Yeah.
And they don't have the work ethic because when they get told no, because of this trickle down thing with the letter grades and the anxiety and this and that, and they're not kind of getting hardened a little bit. When they get told no by a brand for the brand deal, they might shut down and cry in the room for 3 days. And now we have a problem because now you didn't go to school, you didn't do the thing, you don't know what it is. What's happening because of that is, well, these post secondary education, to the collegiate universities, et cetera, right? Colleges, universities, they need to find people to fill those doors, those halls, those classrooms, anyways. So they're letting a lot more people in from other places, which is great. It's fine. People all over the world have better grind than North
Mhm.
America a lot of times. But what I see is because this industry and social media has opened up a lot of vanity success, and especially when it comes to social content that is leveraging vanity success
Right.
to get you buying into their course or their this or the, look at me, I'm cool guy with my Lamborghini that I bought with my real estate money that I flipped wholesale real estate while doing trading online. And when it's all just a rented thing and him as 6 guys use the same Lamborghini to just do all their videos. I have my course for
Yeah. It's a car
$30,
club.
right? The young generation doesn't know how to differentiate, how to critical think.
Uh,
And we failed them. We failed them by not educating them on how to think critically because we haven't been hard enough, but in a tasteful way. I think
yeah.
we're too hard at one point in history, and the pendulum has swung back now, and now we're too soft. And the creator economy ties into this because even though there's a massive benefit for people like Kai Cenat, where you have these streamers that could build these amazing careers off of this, it's inspirational, but it is taking away from traditional jobs that are needed. And when you think of that, and then it coupled with AI and what that will do, because there will be a mass, whatever you want to call it, shift,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Disturbance, whatever, to the market, it starts to now move into a conversation of, immigration, job solution, the job market being in a deficit, there's a stem, there is a through line that comes from
Yeah.
the creator economy.
Yeah.
And if that's not taken as seriously as B2B companies should take it, think about the seriousness, because everybody listening to this is an educated person. They understand what the fuck I'm saying. It's an interesting place to be. There's 200 million people trying to create content.
Mm.
The wealth gap is getting bigger. People want to make videos for a living. People are consuming content a lot, but you can only consume so much. AI takes jobs, there won't be economy, and none of this works. So it's like this crazy wave that my prediction is that we're in for some and it's going to happen very fast in some ways and slower in some ways. But the progression of this industry of creator economy, of this industry of AI and the infusion of both, etc., um, has moved faster than anything I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah. 100%. And
So
it's scary.
it is.
Where I think it might get interesting, and this is my prediction. I could be wrong. I don't have as strong of a record as you when it comes to predictions, but well, that's not true. I think I'm pretty good at
I
predictions, but
think you're pretty good.
where I think branding and really the world of influencer marketing will collide in terms of organizations is brands as influencers, in the
Yes.
sense that, like, I think maybe a year from now, if not this year, we're going to see businesses bring content into their meetings. Meaning, like, think about a board meeting or think about a leadership meeting that is almost turned into kind of this podcast type conversation where that meeting is recorded and it gets converted into content that brands use to show their customers how they make decisions. It shows customers and it shows partners like like those closed meetings, those closed conversations, which I think will be in an effort from a strategic standpoint, in an effort to humanize the organizations. Because I think when we look at consumer behavior and
Yeah.
how they like look at brands, there's a lot of negative perception when it comes to how organizations make decisions. So
Uh-huh.
I think when it comes down to brands having to humanize themselves to really be sustainable moving forward, there's going to be an attempt to use that strategy to humanize their business and like capture attention, capture affinity, capture trust in that way.
How fun would it be if they were doing like making like decisions on like new product and they were live streaming it and they're like,
Yeah.
yo chat,
Yep.
like, should we go with the blue colorway or the orange colorway? Like, comment
Yep.
below in the thing. And then like people are
Yep.
like putting like blue, like spam blue in the chat or spam yellow in the chat and like
Yep.
doing that type of stuff. That like even in the production room, like Nike's there with them, like on the board, like showing, okay, guys, we're doing the unveiling today. And it's like Nike's Twitch stream and they're doing
Mm-hmm.
it. That would be so sick. I agree with what you're saying. I also think that like I'm curious to see if it'll work at all because there's a certain type of personality that does better on video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that your prediction could be correct. I wonder about the success of it because a lot of these people in those boardrooms, do they want to be on camera? Are they going to be good on camera? Are they going to get weird? I've learned working in the film industry, the minute that red light goes on,
Oh yeah.
people change quick. Even I was so nervous when we came into this podcast. I said, I'm so nervous. Oh my God. And now I'm a lot more relaxed with it. It's been 2 hours that we've been chatting, but that's what it is. I mean, you don't have 2 hours in a boardroom being like that. You got
Yeah.
20 minutes to make your case, millions of dollars decision, and then you got to keep it pushing. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how brands give that BTS access. And I believe that all of these companies should be looking to the streamers and to the TikTokers and to the YouTube long formers. I also think long form is going to come back a bit. I
Mm.
think I've started to see it already do so, but
Yeah.
I just believe that it's going to come back a bit, but you're going to have like a sprinkling of attention grabbing moments throughout.
Right. Yeah.
And then forecast them in advance.
Yeah, I mean, think about, I mean, if every business was like a reality show. I mean, think about the
Yes.
Kardashians. Who were the
And that's
Kardashians before they're keeping up with the Kardashian show, right? Because they showed the behind the scenes, even all the craziness of it, but because they showed every aspect of what it means to be a Kardashian, they have built how many billion-dollar brands just from that. So I think,
yes.
if every organization became a reality show and they showed the truth and the reality between the brand or within the brand, I think for a lot of brands it will work.
I've literally used that reference in a pitch. I think I actually have that on a deck somewhere where
Mm,
like your brand as a reality TV show and like the cast and the whole thing, because it is. And I really believe that successful brands moving forward as a big production will all start to double down on owned media content,
yeah.
bringing creators on their own channels and putting content out from that. Collab post, the whole thing. I really believe that that is going to showcase success for brands moving forward, you know? And I think, by the way, all these predictions are very plausible,
Yeah.
but the ones that do it will be the ones that win. And that's my hard stance.
Tom, we can talk for days about these
Yes, we
things, and I
can.
can go on and on. I'm so passionate about these topics, and I can absolutely, sense the passion in you every time we talk about this. But we do have to end the conversation
Yeah,
because
good luck
we've.
editing this, by the
Yeah,
way.
I know you've given me so much work to do, but tell our listeners what else you've got going on in Matchbook. What's on the horizon?
Hey, everyone. Look, I like to be friends with people. Okay. As you can tell from this conversation, I'm a pretty human. And I sure as hell try to be, and also just don't try to be. This is who I am. Um, my LinkedIn is Tom Circo, TomCirco. There's a cute picture of me there in a suit. Add me up. Don't have to send context. Maybe tell me where you're from, and we could be friends. And we love working with brands of all shapes and sizes. I don't care if you're early stage, pre-funding, seed, or if you have $1 billion a year coming in. I've worked with your size before, and we've done cool stuff, from strategy consulting to the development of brand campaigns, execution. We do all of it. I would love to work with as many of you as possible, make real change. Also, something to note, and this offer is open. Clarence and I were talking about this before. I'm very blessed to be in a position where we can take on some pro bono work, and I want to do it for a good cause. I'm even willing to put up a couple $1,000s into it just to make things easy for people. I want to work with organizations that maybe don't have the bandwidth, NPOs, charitable stuff like that, because I think that a lot of their social platforms and what they put out, I made this joke earlier, but we're talking about the difference between literally food, water, shelter, and then leveraging your social marketing and your brand marketing. Um, if anyone has friends or a nonprofit or some kind of thing that they want to build out their brand more and push it all over social, I think there's such a cool opportunity there. And I'm trying to take on one a month with my company and kind of give back by doing that. So very gratefully, we're in the position to do so. And yeah, hit me up anytime. I'm chronically online. It's a problem.
I love that so much, Tom. I think that there's so much. So not, I don't even know if value is the right word, but when we're talking about, again, the people aspect of it and the human centricity of what really the world needs to be nowadays. I think that's exactly where you are. So I appreciate you. On behalf of the listeners, I appreciate that you are in a place where you're willing to do that and offer that for organizations that could benefit so much from it. So thank you on behalf of whoever is listening to this. If they do want to work with you, if they do want to work with Matchbook, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, so our website is on matchbook.com, matchbook.com, and click book a call. It's my personal HubSpot link. Get on there with me and let's connect.
Beautiful. Well, Tom, it's been such a pleasure talking to you again. It always is. And I can't wait to see what else you do with Matchbook moving forward. And again, on behalf of all of our listeners and viewers, I want to say thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today to talk about the nuances of building a brand in today's relationship first economy. You've shared so much great, valuable insight. And I definitely have my work cut out for me for breaking this down. But Thank you, and we really appreciate your time here today.
Thank you too, man. You're awesome, and I'm proud of you for what you're doing here. I think this is meaningful, and I think everyone should be so lucky to have you within their circle because you're a great guy. You call, I answer, and that's how it works. Time.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, take care.